The Rewind
Sports
Sports
60. From the city of big shoulders, the jewel of the Midwest, comes a sports show that's one of a kind. From iconic players to iconic stadiums to iconic teams, this is my kind of town.
Chicago!
And the Rewind Sports 60 is my kind of show. From Air Jordan to sweetness to Papa Bear Hallis, this city works hard, but plays even harder. Danny Carlino and Jerry Riles bring you the Rewind Sports 60. Live. The Rewind Sports 60 starts now.
568-2790.
The following program, the Rewind Sports 60, is sponsored by Jerry Riles and, to the extent applicable, his guests. The views and opinions expressed therein do not necessarily reflect those of NewsWeb Radio Company or its management.
The Rewind
Sports 60. From the city of big shoulders, the jewel of the Midwest, comes a sports show that's one of a kind. From iconic players to iconic stadiums to iconic teams, this is my kind of town.
Chicago!
And the Rewind Sports 60 is my kind of show. From Air Jordan to sweetness to Papa Bear Hallis, this city works hard, but plays even harder. Danny Carlino and Jerry Riles bring you the Rewind Sports 60. Live. The Rewind Sports 60 starts now.
Game. Which side wins? Pass is caught for the touchdown, Montgomery. And maybe it will be Chicago as the Bears jump on top by 3 with the extra point to come. And Trubisky all smiles as he takes his team down the field and into the end zone.
A lot of players made a lot of plays, but today was Mitch's day. It was his day. He did a lot of things today in regards to making special throws at special times. I think someone just told me he was 17 and 19 on first down. I don't know if that's right or not. Third down, those 2 big plays there at the end to win the game-winning drive, 30-yard throws to Anthony Miller on third down. And then the touchdown pass to me stands out to Jesper Horsted, which really wasn't number 1 in the progression, but he made a throw and he made a heck of a decision. And then probably the last one was the touchdown pass at the end to help win the game. David was third in the progression. So again, that's a growth for Mitchell, getting through progression 1, progression 2, and making plays happen. I think that's what I'm probably most proud about.
I just feel like I'm doing my job. It's my job to get the ball to the playmakers, whatever the defense gives us. I got to put the ball in the right spot, especially when everyone else does their job. O-line did a great job protecting. Everybody was in the right spot. Jesper ran his route, and you gotta just keep getting better. And you're proud of that growth, but it's bottom line. I got to just do my job.
Just keep doing your job, brother. Just keep doing your job. Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the Rewind Sports 60. We're streaming live on Facebook Live, broadcasting from the world's famous I'm still in program mode. Broadcasting from the world's famous studios of WCPT. This is another edition of the Rewind Sports 60, the fastest hour in sports conversation. Yours truly, Jerry Riles. I got to tell you, I'm excited, and I'm still in remote mode from Serenello's yesterday. We did a fantastic job over there. I want to say thank you to all of you who participated, came out, and experienced our Saturday tailgate show. But we are doing our Gale Street and Bears Sunday Live post game show here at WCPT 820 AM in the beautiful, beautiful city of Chicago in the neighborhood north side of Jefferson Park. And it is the fastest hour in sports conversation, the Rewind Sports 60. Yours truly, Jerry Riles. And let's get right down to our esteemed panel. Ladies and gentlemen, you love him. He's not pitching for the Chicago Cubs. He's not even doing a hot stove, no question about it. He's not even soliciting Joe Madden with the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim for a position there, but he is in the studios here at WCPT. He's the one. He's the only. He's the marvelous one. He's Dan Marver. What's up, Danny?
Hey, Jerry. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
You know, I'm definitely not soliciting. and yes, Coach, quarterback was 17 out of 19 on first downs. Nice 24-20 on Thanksgiving. They had some good turkey, and now they got Dallas on Thursday.
Yeah, they had great turkey, and Mitchell Trubisky was he was a fantastic quarterback on his way to becoming an all-pro. No question, no question about it. 29 of 38 for 338 yards. I think 2 touchdowns and an interception in that 24-20 victory over the lowly Detroit Lions against a third-string quarterback who almost put his team in position to upset the Chicago Bears.
David Blau.
But as our main man, our NFL contributor, he spent 10 years in the National Football League. He played with your Chicago Bears, a strong safety. He's in our studios. He's a part of the Rewind Sports 60 team. Ladies and gentlemen, you love him. He's Quintin Demps. What's up, Q?
What's up, Jerry? How you doing, man?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
Happy Thanksgiving to all the listeners out there, man.
You got
happy
that
holidays.
Right. Happy Thanksgiving.
I'm doing well, man, because Mitchell showed, he did right for me, man. He showed up and he played good football, man.
Yeah.
I was proud to see that.
Yeah. I think a lot of people were proud to see that, man.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were proud to see that.
Yeah, it was a good game.
Was it a good game?
Yeah, it was a good game. It was a good game, man. Yeah. Bears got hit in the mouth kind of early, but they fought through, man, and they came out with a win.
Yeah, they did, and much needed win. They improved their record to back to 500 at 6-6, and of course they get ready to prepare for the Dallas Cowboys on Thursday night, another Thursday night football game. And Dallas, that's a game that the Bears actually may take.
They also looked that good against Buffalo.
Yeah, Dallas. I don't know what's going on with them, but that's a game that the Bears, they prepare properly.
It should be a good game.
It should be a good game over on the lakefront. And ladies and gentlemen, we want to say, let me tell you something. I keep telling everyone, you guys think I'm joking and I'm just flying off the cuff or whatever. But if you've been listening to the Rewind Sports 60 since 2015, and definitely since we've been here at WCPT 820 AM, you certainly do understand and do believe, and you can tell from what you're hearing that this is truly the best sports talk show in the city of Chicago, ladies and gentlemen. It's the best. It simply is. I'm just telling you. I'm giving you the challenge. You can scan the dials, and you know the 2 main sports stations here in the city of Chicago. Those guys, I know people at both the station. They do a fantastic job. There's no question about it. But they do have all the bells and whistles, and of course they have the big, ching ching.
Yeah.
But when you get rid of all that and just put it down, straight down the middle.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
Hey.
Let me tell you something.
WCPT, baby.
We're in a team photo. There's no question about it. But I say that to share with you, I love this guy, Quintin Demps. Fantastic addition to the Rewind Sports 60.
Yeah.
Marvelous. You've been a part of the program for quite some time.
Yes, sir.
And, of course, we got Danny Carlino, the Italian Stallion, Gabe Salgado with our TRS60 scoreboard update at the bottom and the top of the fastest hour in sports conversation. And, of course, the man on the street, Marty B.
Marty B.
Yeah, the man on the street.
I think he's on the street right now.
He probably is on the street. Yeah. But I got to tell you, 2019, sports, it's for everybody. And I'm pleased to just introduce this sensational, beautiful woman in our studios, ladies and gentlemen. Lauren Yucan is in the house, folks.
What's up, Lauren?
And she's checking out the Rewind Sports 60. How are you?
I'm fantastic. A Bears win on Thursday.
Yeah.
Turkey, family, relaxation, Black Friday, sports, and more sports.
That a girl.
Hey.
That a girl.
I'm a happy lady.
No, we're happy men to have you in our presence for sure.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
It's, the one thing about it is I've been in the media for a long time. Marvelous has been following sports for a long time. This guy, 10-year veteran in the National Football League.
For sure.
But now a female perspective.
Yes.
As far as it's going to be very, very good because we all watch the same thing.
Right.
We all watch the same thing, but we all bring a different perspective to the conversation, to the game.
Absolutely.
And I think it's a reflection of what this city is all about. Diversity.
Sure.
And difference of opinions. And different slants and different angles.
Absolutely.
And I like the fact that you're interested in being a part of what we're doing here.
I am.
And I'm looking forward to, working with you as long as you want to be a part of this crazy team. But, folks, I want you to welcome Lauren Yucan to the Rewind Sports 60 and to the WCPT 820 family. We do every Sunday from 6 to 7 p.m. We have a fabulous time here. And we certainly get into it because, as I stated, we have different perspective and we see things differently. And, we come at it differently. And sometimes we have to open up each other's eyes.
Yes.
So that you can see what that person is seeing. And give you an example.
Okay.
Because this guy across from us.
Oh boy!
And I told you he played in the league for 10 years, so he definitely sees the game of football differently than you, than me, than the Marvelous one.
Yeah.
And when he came on the show, he
set it off.
This guy told me that. Hey, he told me Mitchell Trubisky is an All-Pro quarterback.
I didn't say he was an All-Pro. No, I said after that.
Now I know he made it. I know Mitchell Trubisky. Yeah, I know he wasn't he an alternate last year? He was an alternate last year, right? He was a Pro Bowler. I'm ready to go to Canton with this guy. Get the gold jacket and everything.
I'm trying to hype a man up, man. I know the Chicago's probably they're down on him right now. So I'm just trying to have his back.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And the one thing
he
about
showed
it
out
is,
for me last game too.
I was gonna text and call Quintin Demps on Thanksgiving because he planted the seed in my mind as well.
He called it.
He said, "Hey, a win is a win." I go, but Quintin, I mean, the way that they're winning, they're almost losing these games. He goes, "Hey, Jerry, a win is a win."
Yeah.
And he said, "Hey, they still have a chance."
6 and 6 is 6 and
Really?
6. Hey.
Really?
They got to win out, but they got a chance.
Well,
they got a chance.
Yeah.
It's
you know
slim,
what?
but-
Let me tell you something. And I love you to death. Thank you so very much. But I have a chance of winning a $228 million lotto, too. But Marvelous, the chances of me doing it, I don't think it's going to happen.
I mean, that's like the lotto. Trubisky was put in the game to replace Goff like a week before the game. So, I mean, it isn't like he was picked, in the first.
Yeah. No, but folks, thank you so very much for being a part of it. Let me get your perspective as far as what you think about the Chicago Bears, Matt Nagy, and the whole kit and caboodle regarding Mitchell Trubisky, from the time being drafted here by the general manager Ryan Pace to supposedly being our fearless leader.
Yes.
And leading us to the promised land.
Absolutely.
And we're gonna ride on the sled of Quintin Demps.
All right, let's go.
But what are your perspective on the Bears overall and the three gentlemen I mentioned, Ryan Pace, Matt Nagy, and Mitchell Trubisky, Lauren?
Sure. So it ebbs and flows. I mean, starting from when he got drafted, everybody was a little things that make you say,
Right.
That's the kind of moment we had. And then when you look at the other quarterbacks that, we could have gotten, please, let's not even go there. So it didn't start off too well. And then last year, things really took a turn and, there was momentum. Defense was on fire. Everybody was behind Nagy. Of course, Mitch was doing pretty well. And so it looked like we had things going in the right direction. So there was a lot of expectations. And so coming into this season, a lot of expectations. And let's just be quite honest, the expectations, they weren't fulfilled. And so that's where we are now in terms of really on this high and expecting things. And, Chicago being what it is, we thought we had all of the pieces together finally, of O-line and everything. And now for us to be where we are, specifically before this Cowboys game, it was disappointing. And so, everybody was starting to feel the heat. And when you feel that heat from the team, that you lose morale and everybody is down. People are pointing fingers. People were questioning the defense. We were questioning Matt Nagy's play calling. Of course, people were down on Mitch. So very happy for this win because at least that can kind of hopefully change the trajectory when you're looking at the Cowboys and that matchup. That's a must win. That is a must win.
Very well said. Marvelous. And Quintin, he said it, a win is a win, but I'm still, for me, the jury is still out regarding this football team.
As it should be.
Yeah. Not only the remainder of the season, but Marvelous in 2020.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're going to try to fill some holes that are going to be over the off season, but right now they are 6 and 6, so hopefully they're on a trajectory where they can do well against this tough schedule of Dallas, Packers, Chiefs, and Vikings, coming up. So we'll see what happens. But let's finish this year first. Then they'll worry about the off season.
Right.
Go ahead, Quintin.
Yeah, I don't think we. I'm not writing them off just yet. I think last year they went above and beyond expectations. 12 and 6, making the playoffs and barely and losing off a missed field goal.
Right.
And this year the verdict's still out, but it's hard to go back to back, winning seasons like that unless you're the Patriots.
I was about to say.
So if they can finish the month of December really well, I feel like they need a new slate. Like they should get a new slate.
So what does really well mean to you? Because course, they got Dallas, right?
Winning out. I think winning out is really well.
But and that's again,
winning out is really well.
I don't even know how much lottery costs, but if I take my $1 or $2 down to the 7-Eleven and get a lottery ticket for $228 million,
right?
You know, I feel good because I got a chance. But the reality of it is, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Meaning that the Green Bay Packers are still on the roster on the schedule for the Bears, and the Minnesota Vikings are still on
both on the frozen tundra.
Yeah,
those are both division games, though.
Yeah, but you got to go to their division home to play.
But you flip a coin still. It's a division game.
Really?
Yeah, at the end of the year, it's a division game, man. I see you twice a year. I know you. It doesn't matter about records.
One big difference is the all 4 teams that they play are trying to stay in the playoffs.
Right, exactly.
So that's one problem they may run into because these teams all have something to play for.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's the story there. I mean, Green Bay obviously, leading the division, and Minnesota is right there, so they're jockeying for position as well. And you help me and you share it with me.
I got you. Yeah.
But if I'm, Aaron Rodgers, if I'm the Minnesota Vikings, and I see that the Chicago Bears are on my roster, on my schedule.
Yeah, you think an easy win?
Not necessarily easy, but I know, like you say, you know them. So I know how to game plan against the Bears now. Right. Now it was announced that Akeem Hicks will be. I guess he's going to be coming back soon.
Okay, that's good.
Maybe
that's
even
good.
this upcoming game against Dallas.
Good.
But
he's a good part of the defense.
So that leads me to this question though. But again, I think Green Bay and Minnesota, they see the Bears and what the Bears are capable of doing as well.
Right.
So they know how to game plan. They can watch film, and they know how to exploit the weaknesses both on the defensive side of the ball and the offensive side of the ball as far as the Bears are concerned. And the weakness one there is Mitchell Trubisky, unless he can continue or start a trend as far as the type of numbers that he put up against the Green Bay, the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, the Lions.
Yeah. But let me ask you this question real quick. Regarding Akeem Hicks.
Right.
If he did not sustain the injury earlier this year, do you think the Bears would be in a better position record-wise had he been playing all 12 of these games?
No, I can't. I won't discredit Akeem, but I don't think he made that much of a difference. You know what I mean? Like that's like saying a defensive lineman is the best person on defense. No, you still gotta play the game. Like no matter who's out, no matter who's in or out. Like the only thing that really matters like that is the quarterbacks. You can't really say that about defenses. You know what I mean? Like,
well, here's the and Lauren, Marvelous, feel free to jump in. But here is what the game plan looked like coming into the season.
Yeah.
For opposing offenses, who were they going to try to stop? Were they going to try to stop Akeem Hicks? Were they going to try to stop Khalil Mack?
Right.
Roquan Smith?
Yeah.
And at the time, Leonard Floyd. Yeah. But Leonard Floyd is missing in action.
Right. Right.
But prior to the start of the season, that was the question as far as what offensive lineman, who are you going to double team?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we know that Khalil Mack has been double team, triple team, quadruple team.
Right.
So it appears because what the Bears was after the Thursday night loss against the Green Bay Packers, what were we, 3-1?
Right.
Yeah, right. So, and those are the games that Akeem Hicks. So when you look at those 4 players that we talk about, and you're game planning against the Bears defensively, it's going to send confusion on that offensive line.
Yeah,
and that's why I asked the question if Akeem Hicks was missed.
He definitely would elevate the defense for sure, especially like Floyd and Mack. He definitely would elevate and bring an element to the defense, but he can't make kicks. He can't make the kicks. He can't make the third down and 3.
Let me tell you this.
You know what I'm saying?
Most of the kickers in the league this season, they missing. Yeah. Robbie Gold, one of the most accurate kickers in the game. What is he like? 20 for 29 this season so far?
Oh. Yeah. Even the great Vinatieri is
the great Vinatieri.
Oh, he had a bad game a few weeks ago.
Really bad.
But that's the whole point. And I know a lot of people wanted Eddie Pinero's head and wanted him out of town.
Yeah.
But if you follow the league, Lauren, and you look at all the kickers around, everybody, it's down.
Yeah, it's a bad season for kickers.
I'll say about Hicks, I mean, he was hurt in the Raiders game, and I would have had and my predictions would have been them beating the Raiders and the Chargers. So maybe it did make a difference, and those were close games. I mean, they lost to Oakland by 3 and the Chargers by 1, and then they'd be 8-4. Big difference.
No, I mean, that's actually right.
Yeah, you got the Oakland game,
Yeah, and that's why I posed the question, and that's interesting. Now, Lauren, let me ask you as far as Matt Nagy is concerned, because we all heard the comments, and we have to say courtesy of Fox Sports NFL for those highlights and of course the comments, post-game comments. But as far as Matt Nagy is concerned, and Quintin, you jump in as well because you've lived it and you've been a part of it. But a lot of sports fans, a lot of media are getting frustrated with Matt Nagy's double talk.
Absolutely.
Right? Your thoughts?
So Matt, it's interesting because you see Mitch doesn't call the plays. So a lot of people, rightfully so, they want Matt's head because you question some of the play calling in a lot of these critical situations. And, he supports Mitch. And then, it was the whole speculation about when he was pulled. And I know you guys talked about that before. And so it's just this interesting. It's like, are you holding him accountable? Is it your fault? A lot of question marks when it comes to Matt and his play calling, his relationship with Mitch. It's puzzling to me because I'm like, I see you supporting him, but at the same point in time, you got to hold him accountable for some of these mistakes that he's making.
Right.
I'm confused.
Did you believe the hip pointer injury?
I'm confused. I'm still confused on that one. That's what I'm saying. This is confusing.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Well, you can't be confused because I'm sure you watched the game.
Yeah.
And he played the whole second half until the last 3 minutes and 28 seconds of the game.
It was some BS.
So that's not confusing.
No.
What's confusing is what he says. And Quintin, dude, you've been around some coaches. You were under John Fox here.
Yeah.
And so we understand. We go back with Lovie Smith and how he protected his players, marvelous one. Yeah. And the media, they didn't like him so much because he wasn't open and the players weren't open.
Yeah.
Is this something that, because it seemed like Matt Nagy is.
I think he's still learning how to be a head coach.
Yeah, okay.
Like last year, he didn't have these these tough questions to answer on the podium. Now they're losing and things are bad, and he's really seeing what Chicago is about. Like, bro, you got to give us the truth and what's real. Like, you can't be sugarcoating us.
You're absolutely right.
So he's learning from that right now.
He had no experience addressing the press in his previous jobs, and everything was hunky-dory last year. Right. So, he obviously in that one game with the field goal situation with Pinero, I talked about placing the ball, and there were some other things where he wasn't polished at the press briefing.
Yeah. And that's kind of surprising. I understand because here's the deal. It's like, it's just my opinion, but I think Ryan Pace, all three of the guys, the three-headed horsemen, whatever you want to call them, Ryan Pace, Mitchell Trubisky, Matt Nagy, an unfortunate situation as far as Chicago is concerned because all three of them appear to be learning on the job.
Right.
Yeah. Well, just be careful about Pace. I got a soft spot in my heart.
See, man. See, you're too close. You're too close to these cats, man.
He gave my most money, man.
He drafted Mitch. Okay.
He believed in me the most.
We could have had Deshaun. We could have had Lamar. Come on now.
But he said he got paid.
I respect your paper, but I mean.
No, but I think Pace got to he got to tighten up too where you got to tighten up at. You know what I'm saying? So like again, everybody got to get better. Across the board.
And again, I've had the pleasure to meet Mitchell Trubisky and talk to him, and he's a very I'm not going to say charismatic, but he's a very likable young man.
Of course, yeah.
And I can see how he won Matt Nagy over in the interviewing process at the combine and everything. He's just a great kid.
Okay.
Right? And I'm telling you, seriously.
I believe that, but this is Chicago. You got to bring it.
Yeah.
Especially when these other quarterbacks are.
And that's the thing. These three guys, like you said, they're not really familiar with Chicago. They think they know Chicago, but they're not really familiar with Chicago.
Right.
And I know Philadelphia is a really tough team as far as tough town as far as the fan base are concerned.
Yeah,
we know what New York fans bring to the table, but Chicago, we're a unique breed. There's no question about it. And we'll accept mediocrity for because think about the Bulls and the Blackhawks.
But
we'll get a chance to talk some Bull basketball after our TR60 scoreboard update. But fans want to know. They certainly want to know.
And don't feed us BS.
And that's the thing.
We can see what's going on.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. So, hey man, and I remember the press conference. I don't know if you guys remember, Marvelous, when Matt Nagy was introduced to the Chicago media, and. Your guy, Ryan Pace, said, hey, we're gonna hold this guy accountable. Yeah. He's gonna live up to the expectations. Yeah. And Matt Nagy turned to him and said, well, I'm gonna hold you accountable too. I'm gonna question you if you screw up.
Did he really?
We'll try to find the tape if we can. That was my reaction, Quintin.
Yeah.
I was like, how can a guy, and it showed how cocky and arrogant he was, in my opinion, because I go, how can you at the press conference, your introduction to the media and the city.
Yeah.
And you're going to call your boss out and say, hey, if you screw up, I'm going to call you to the carpet.
Yeah.
He was feeling himself.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, whoa,
so crazy.
Whoa. I was like, but it showed kind of an edge. It showed kind of an edge.
Yeah.
But you got to live up to the expectation.
He's a competitor.
Yeah, there was one coach that said, remember, that beating Green Bay was what they had to do. Remember that?
Yeah.
A while back? And, talking about Green Bay, it's funny. They're going to be playing in the frozen tundras.
Yeah.
And in the warm summer, September, they managed to have low-scoring games, 10-3 Green Bay, 16-6 Minnesota. That's a low-scoring game. Might be nice in the frozen tundras.
I just want to make sure that Mitchell Trubisky can put up 300-plus yards of offense.
Yeah.
Since Matt Nagy said that's his best game, and it's against the third. Help me out here, man, before we go to the
He ain't playing against the quarterback. He's playing against the defense, man. Forget the other team's quarterback.
Hey, I'm just going on what the coach said, man. Yeah. He's like, oh, this is Mitchell's game. I mean, he did great.
He did. He was like 4 for 4 in the first drive.
Oh, he was awesome.
Yeah.
He was awesome.
Yeah, he was good, man.
Against a weak...
a division opponent.
I got to watch my language, but a weak Detroit Lion team with a third-string quarterback.
Right.
Third-string quarterback. He in the NFL, man.
Yeah, and he was pretty good at Purdue.
Yeah, he certainly was. And
he almost beat him.
Yeah, he did. Quintin. You're driving me nuts, man.
There's a short drive or a long trip.
And I thought, Lauren, I thought it was just the title of a movie. Any Given Sunday. But this guy has said it's true. It's the NFL.
Okay.
Yeah, Any Given Sunday.
You know why?
Man.
You know why?
Why?
The Bears went on, so I got the red zone.
Uh-huh.
I'm watching all the games, man. I'm losing my mind.
Yeah.
Why?
Miami won?
They beat a good team.
Kidding?
They beat a good team,
Washington, too.
Yeah.
Washington
won.
won?
Cincinnati.
I missed that red zone channel.
I'm in the
Given Sunday, yo.
Dude, and that's why I'm telling you, man.
It don't matter, man.
You're in my head now.
Yeah.
You're in my head. Lauren, I go with the confidence pool.
Yeah.
1 to 16. I gave the Bears a 16. That's the confidence I had in them. I gave them a 16, and they won. I gave Dallas a 10.
Oh, boy.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, boy is right.
Dallas has been hurting you all year, Jerry.
Yeah, but they're hurting a lot of people.
I know.
But this guy's in my head because I'm like, I look at it, I have to put an L next to and I'm like, Quintin, any given Sunday.
Any given Sunday.
Any given Sunday. I mean, this guy's a win is a win.
Yeah.
Any team can win. They can play.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
Records don't matter, man.
Hope Seattle beats Minnesota. I went away.
Well, I hope so too. I put 11 on them. Come on.
Right.
Yeah.
Folks, keep it locked in. It's the fastest hour in sports conversations, the Rewind Sports 60, WCPT 820 AM. You want to join in? Give us a call, 773-763-WCPT, 773-763-9278. This is the Rewind Sports 60. We had a TRS60 scoreboard update with Gabe Salgado with all the highlights and maybe lowlights. Gabe Salgado, take it away, buddy.
That ball hit high.
Not that one, buddy. That's it. Get out of here. Yes.
TRS60 Sports Update.
It's sponsored by the Monster Education Foundation. After sweeping the season series with the Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving Day, the Bears were back on the practice field at Hallis Hall today, and joining them was defensive end Akeem Hicks, who had been out for the last couple of months with a dislocated elbow. This coming week, the Bears will be featured on Thursday night again when they welcome the struggling Dallas Cowboys at Soldier Field. The Green Bay Packers became the latest team to dominate the New York Giants today, with the final score of that game being 31-13. The potential Super Bowl preview between the Baltimore Ravens and the San Francisco 49ers earlier today was won by the Ravens 20-17 on the last-second field goal. The Minnesota Vikings hit the road to play the Seattle Seahawks for Monday Night Football tomorrow in a game that will be of significant interest to the Bears. And the Steelers win the highly anticipated rematch with the Cleveland Browns 20-13. The Blackhawks are also getting a much-needed respite today after losing a home-and-home to the Colorado Avalanche this weekend by a combined score of 12-5. The Hawks have lost 3 of their last 4, and they look to rebound when the St. Louis Blues come to the United Center tomorrow. As for the 6-14 Bulls, they'll finish their West Coast road trip in Sacramento tomorrow night. They are already 0-2 on this current set of road games. And in college football, Northwestern has fired offensive coordinator Nick McCaw after 12 seasons. Although the Wildcats posted just 4 losing campaigns and sent multiple offensive players to the NFL with McCaw running the playbook, the Wildcat offense ranked in the bottom half of the Big Ten Conference in most categories during his tenure. Northwestern went 3-9 this season and ranked 126 out of all FBS teams in terms of total offense this year. This update is sponsored by the Monster Education Foundation. MEF, empower the next generation of leaders. Go to monstereducationfoundation.org to learn more. I'm Gabe Salgado for the Rewind Sports 60 and WCPT 820 Chicago.
Yo! Go Bucks! Woo!
It's the end of the quarter. Time for a break in the action. The hottest sports panel in Chicago will get back to the fast-paced action, streaming live on Facebook Live. We're back at it after this quick timeout. So don't you dare touch that iPhone, Android, iPad, Mac, or PC. Lock it in.
Please have a seat. I'll be honest. Your resume is not what I'm used to.
I know.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need a hard worker.
Good. I've got 2 part-time jobs and to help my parents pay the bills.
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find, cultivate, and train a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Hey, Chicago, looking for a winning team on a winning station? You found it right here on WCPT 820 AM. Join Danny Carlino, Kelly Lee Williams, Dan Marvelous Marver, Marty B, the man on the street, Gabe Salgado with updates, and yours truly, Jerry Riles, for your sports and entertainment needs. Looking for real sports talk? Got it. Real radio? Right here. Real stuff? We're here. The Rewind Sports 60 every Sunday from 6 to 7 p.m. on WCPT 820 AM. Real sports, real talk, just plain real. Lock it in.
If it's Chicago sports you want, you're in the right place.
Hello, Chicago!
The Rewind Sports 60.
That's the best in the city of Chicago.
Welcome back to the Rewind Sports 60 live with the best sports panel in Chicago. Lock it in.
All right. I'm here. Welcome back to the Rewind Sports 60, ladies and gentlemen. It's the fastest hour in sports conversation. WCPT 820 AM. It's the Rewind Sports 60. The marvelous one, Dan Marver. The superstar.
Q. Hey. Say Q.
Q. We'll just call him Q.
Yeah.
Quintin Demps.
Are you the mayor of Cincinnati like Jerry? Never mind.
I was about to say, isn't it the soundbite where we all start fighting?
Yeah, right. Yeah. But just don't come over here. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not interested in all the fighting and everything.
Okay.
You kidding me?
Throwing chairs?
Yeah. Hey, if you guys want to jump in, talking some Bears football, talking Chicago Bulls, unfortunately, I don't know, man. I don't know. But before we get in that conversation, during the break, you guys share some information with me regarding former Ohio State Buckeye Terrell Pryor.
Mm-hmm.
Get me up to speed, Lauren.
So really interesting, devastating news. He actually was stabbed. And the woman who stabbed him, she has been arrested. She was released early this morning. She was arrested for attempted homicide. He was stabbed. He was rushed to the hospital. He's basically in critical condition. He had to have emergency surgery. A lot of interesting details going on. They were supposed to have a volatile relationship. They supposedly got into a fight. She stabbed him. They say it was in self-defense. Really, really scary news.
Yeah.
I know him being a former Buckeye. I'm sure you're familiar with Terrell, and he was, a quarterback, and, he was in the league for several years. And so really, really trying to figure out and kind of wrap our heads around exactly what happened. And overall, the NFL, the players, and this domestic violence that seems to be so pervasive.
You know what? Hey, Quintin Demps.
I hate domestic violence.
I know that's right.
I think most people do.
Yeah.
I think most people do. But for some, reason, and maybe you could shed a light on it, or open our eyes to some things. But it appears that a lot of former athletes, and some entertainers as well. But it appears that it happens more frequently, in the entertainment and in the sports world, and I would imagine it's attributed to the money.
Yeah, I think money. I think I want to say like the head trauma maybe too as well, and then the devil, alcohol, tequila, and all that stuff taking place.
I call it to kill you.
Alcohol. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like that really takes its place, man. Especially when you got a guy like who's played in the NFL so long, man. Like he already has a temper. He's already used to being aggressive, and it's just like there's no excuse for them to do that.
Right.
But like, you just got to be careful what you say to him, how you push him, all that kind of stuff, and like. It's just one thing that I despise from a man, and that's hitting a woman or raping somebody. Like it's just the thing that I hate the most.
So let me ask you this question: Quintin Demps joining us on the program along with Lauren Yucan, and of course the marvelous one. But here's I don't know how do I say this? How did you handle playing 10 years in the league?
Yeah,
because every play. You have to rise to a high level, and it's a violent game.
Yeah,
and you have to be able to turn on that aggression.
Yeah,
but then turn it off.
Yeah,
why? And this is one reason why there are a lot of penalties in the game. I think because of the frustration level.
Yeah,
and because it's so violent.
Yeah,
hence we talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns a couple of weeks ago.
Right,
but you're conditioned, and you've trained yourself over the years to play this style this way.
Yeah.
But when you're away from the game and your everyday life, how do you adjust and handle that? Because it's almost like it's a light switch.
Yeah.
I got to turn on a light switch and raise my level of aggression. But then I got to turn it off and be calm, cool demeanor.
Yeah,
how are you able to do that?
Like, to be honest, man, I've been out with maybe like 18 months. I want to say 2 years. And I'm just now really learning how to really manage that, man. It's a real thing. Like, it's really something that we deal with when we lead a game, man. Like, how do we? Like, I'm a lion, but life is calling me to be a gazelle right now. How do I do that? I can't do that. Like, it's tough. So it's like you just got to find a balance, man. You got to have a good core people around to talk to. You got to have an outlet to that you go do something you're passionate about. That's that keeps you from thinking about things that you shouldn't be thinking about, and just stuff like that, man. Really finding stuff that you love to do and doing that.
Because that's what seems to be the issue for a lot of players, especially when they walk away from the game. They were so used to training, practicing, being on the field. It's like once they don't have it anymore, it's like, what do I do with myself?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's difficult.
But and I'm glad you shared that, because I always wonder, you're playing a violent sport, 60 minutes, and each play is average couple seconds here and there, and then you got to regroup and get back and go. And you got to, I mean, it's violent. They equate it to a car crash repeatedly, a car crash, and we're talking about the rules, Lauren, and the helmet to helmet. And again, we talk about the outburst that took place against the Pittsburgh Steelers and Mason Rudolph and Myles Garrett.
Yeah, that was just absurd. That was just,
and people were alarmed. They were like, that's. Yeah, and they were calling for criminal charges against this guy.
Absolutely.
But prior to that play, he was acting. He was a man, but he was acting in a controlled, violent demeanor. His job was to, and the old saying, "I'll meet you at the quarterback."
Yeah,
and that is his job.
That's his mentality.
And so when it got to the point where, and again, you've had your helmet ripped off before.
Nah.
Have you?
Not like that.
Not like that. But it's not a pleasant feeling. It's not a pleasant feeling.
Right.
If you're at an aggressive level as high as he was, and then you pull off the helmet like that, I'm not condoning the fact that he hit, Mason Rudolph upside the head the way he did with the helmet. But because of his aggressive nature in a conditioned manner, in a controlled manner, I can see why he reacted the way that he reacted.
But we all know better than that, though. It's like but
that's easy to say.
It's an unwritten rule, bro. You don't hit nobody with your helmet, bro.
I understand,
especially when their helmet's off.
But a couple former players say, "Hey, man, he said, why is everyone making a big deal about it? Because we've seen this from not Pop Warner, of course, but in high school and college.
That's BS. I ain't never seen that. Come on, man. Since I was 20.
Listen, let me tell you something.
I've been playing 20 years. I ain't never seen nobody
Marvelous,
swing a helmet.
Marvelous, maybe you can jump in.
I want to mention a couple things.
Marvelous.
I was looking at the report on Pryor. He was reportedly in stable condition after surgery, and the Shalia Briston of Munhall, Pennsylvania, was arrested on charges of criminal attempted homicide and aggravated assault. And then Pryor faces a charge of simple assault, according to police. So that's what I got from WTAE in Pittsburgh. And by the way, and in terms of the the other incident with Rudolph,
the helmet.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't it true that a few days later, Rudolph was accused of using a racial slur?
Yeah.
So why didn't that come up at the time?
That's a great question.
Yeah, and another thing is since about 70% of the players in the NFL are black, that would be kind of something that his own teammates would like.
Right.
I mean, nobody would like it. Nobody would like it, and I don't necessarily believe that happened. I don't, because why would it come up days later?
Yeah, after he talked to his attorney.
Well,
people were saying the way that he reacted, maybe he did. People were calling that from the beginning. Like, it had to be something to set him off in that way that was totally abnormal. No, for Garrett to do what he did, that maybe he said something or something. Something transpired to Rudolph.
No, it was
set him off in that way, which is abnormal.
No, that's to me that's ridiculous. I think if a guy trying to rip my helmet off, that's gonna set me off.
That's enough. Yeah, that was enough.
Right,
and then him running up was probably enough too.
Right, exactly. That's the other thing. Right, we forget about that. But Mason Rudolph gets off after trying to rip his helmet off. He gets up off the ground, runs around, and tries to club him. It's like, why are you running after this big dude with no helmet on?
That's a beast. I mean, Garrett is no joke. I mean, he's a great player as well. So,
but I'm gonna get back to and I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's happened before, but Marvelous, you can attest. Platteville, under Mike Ditka, the Bears used to go up to training camp in Platteville, and they used to do 2-a-days. Sometimes 3-a-days.
Right.
And I remember, even before Mike Dick, I believe, but I remember Johnny Morris, a longtime sports anchor reporter here in Chicago at CBS Channel 2.
Yeah.
I mean, they had video of practice up at Platteville, and they have, Mike Hartenstein or, Jim Osborne, or these guys like going at each other, ripping their heads off and swinging. And I mean, but we embraced it. Why?
Right.
Because these guys were getting ready for the regular season. And so you wanted to see these guys just, rip each other apart, not to the point where they're going to injure themselves, but to the point where they say, okay, we're ready for preseason. We want to go after somebody else.
Right.
So we've seen a lot of nastiness and ugliness as far as the National Football League is concerned over the years.
And we didn't know about the repercussions.
Not at all.
And as a mom whose son is a quarterback, when I saw that, I was like, I wanted to hurt Garrett. I mean, just what we know about these, CTE and the repercussions of the game. It's no place for that. It's absolutely no place for that. And,
because truth be told, he hit him a little bit more to the right or something. He might have did something.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't forget, Rudolph was under concussion protocol 4 weeks earlier.
Absolutely.
I think he was under concussion protocol
during the game.
He threw 4 interceptions in that game. That's what set him off. Are you kidding me? 773-763 WCPT is our number if you want to jump in on our conversation. It's the Rewind Sports 60. Yours truly, Jerry Riles, the marvelous one, Dan Marver. Q, Quintin Demps is in the house, our NFL expert, and of course, the lovely, the talented Lauren Yucan joining the team. The Rewind Sports 60 team, we want to say thank you so very much and welcome to the team. Now, I'm going to transition to another team, and Lauren, maybe you can help this team out. Maybe you can help this team out. The 6-14 Chicago Bulls.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, is right. That's what we say every single night that we watch them play. And it's gotten to the point, Lauren, that
6-14.
Carmelo Anthony he's a Hall of Famer. There's no question about it.
No way.
One of the most purest shooters in the game. One of the most purest shooters the game has ever seen. Carmelo Anthony. Yeah. We can't. Damien,
as I'm looking from across the way, Quinton's reaction to that is priceless.
You don't think Carmelo Anthony is a potential Hall of Famer?
I think
Marvelous. Can you look up his numbers?
Please.
Yeah, we'll do.
Really?
I'm at it.
Let me tell you something. Jim Boeheim, he played at Syracuse, right?
Yeah.
Jim Boeheim said Carmelo Anthony was the best player that come through Syracuse history. He was the best shooter he's ever coached.
Okay.
Yeah.
The best shooter he's ever coached.
He's averaged 24 points throughout his career. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Quintin.
So you saying based off his years in Denver, he's a Hall of Famer? That's what I know.
I'm basing on his old body of work.
And he's fallen off the last 3 years. He's been under 20. Yeah.
So Denver and New York. Then that's his biggest body of work. Denver and New York. That's
right.
Yeah.
I think Carmelo Anthony. I'll get you a ticket once they,
I love his game. Like, no disrespect, but I just think we making the Hall of Fame like it's a little bit lower than what it should be.
You think?
Yeah, I think Hall of Fame. I'm thinking about LeBron. I'm thinking about Jordan. I'm thinking about Oscar Robertson.
No, I mean those guys. Those are given. Those are given.
So,
but you want to also recognize people who have consistent, long-term body of work that has contributed on a major factor
and has won some championships.
Well, I mean,
or has been known as a leader around the league
and
too.
not been so selfish.
Yeah, been a leader around the league too.
If that's the case, you won't have nobody in the Hall of Fame.
That's true
He
too.
was a certain kind of selfishness.
He was.
I was going to say if that's the case, how did Dennis Rodman get in?
Has he ever won MVP of the league?
No.
Come on,
probably
put him in the Hall of Fame. He ain't won the MVP of the league, man. Stop that, Jerry. You got to at least win the MVP.
Oh, you know what? You're rubbing off on me. That's what it is. Because Mitchell Trubisky's going to be an All-Pro, so I was just thinking Carmelo Anthony in the Hall of Fame. But let's get back to the Bulls. Let's get back to the Bulls. And, listen.
Yeah.
Lauren.
Yes.
We went up to the left coast, right? Mm-hmm. We lost to the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
Without all their players.
I know, with nobody on their team.
That's a G League team.
It was sad.
And I think they had some injured players.
Wait a minute now. They still had Draymond Green.
Oh, they're green.
Is he playing now?
They didn't have.
Lauren,
they need help.
What are your thoughts watching the Bulls after the first 20 games?
Okay, so I watched the game when they played the Trailblazers. That was their last game. Chris Dunn was back, so I'm like, okay, he had 9 points for 29 minutes. Laurie.
Yeah.
What is going on with Laurie?
We're all wondering that.
Yeah, we need him. And, he had 13 points. Unacceptable. He's not getting the job done. We got a lot of problems.
Yeah.
A lot of problems. Coaching is suspect.
Why do you say that? Jim Boylan.
I'm not a fan.
Why?
Not a fan. We need a good coach. That's what we've been lacking.
This is first season, though, right?
Yeah, but still,
we have
the pieces. You give him 20 games
on that.
It's not. No.
He got 60 more games. You saying he's a bad coach?
I thought he was going to just fill in the rest of the year. I was shocked.
But why do you? What'd you say?
I thought he would just fill in the rest of last year. I'm shocked they gave him the gig. Honestly.
He didn't deserve it. We need a good. Let's start with a good coach, and then we can. What is the rationale behind these coaches?
So what I think the reason John Paxson and Gar Forman promoted him to head coach after Fred Hoiberg is the fact that he's been on the bench with San Antonio and Popovich, right?
Right.
And of course he sat on the bench with Fred Hoiberg, and so they have a relationship with the players, right? And he knows the culture of the Chicago Bulls, so they felt
that might be the problem.
They felt
I have to agree with her on that.
They need a new culture.
Hang on. They felt that this guy can take it to the next step. And we can because he has NBA experience. He's been in the league, not as a head coach, but they felt that he would be able to work more effectively with these young players and get them to learn how to not only play, but eventually win
He's
in the
having
NBA.
beef with Zach LaVine. And, I mean, it's that whole situation with that drama that they had a couple days ago, unacceptable.
Let's not also forget that that video was very telling when they beat Charlotte and every player was avoiding Jim Boylan to celebrate afterwards. What does that tell you?
Oh, they don't like him. They don't respect him. They don't respect him in the locker room.
Why is that?
He doesn't have any respect. I don't know why, but I'm just saying.
But what makes a player not respect a coach?
Things like not having our back.
Yeah,
not
he
feeling
called
like
him
we can
out.
trust you. Yeah, not feeling like like you in this thing with us. Like feeling like you just you Uncle Tom and us, or like you two-faced it almost. Like,
so you're not necessarily saying that about the Bulls and Jim Boylan, but
right,
that's an example of players that say, hey, I don't want to play for this guy.
Yeah.
And so it's easier obviously to get rid of the coach than it is for the players. But from what you see, the culture with the Chicago Bulls right now, the player coach relationship, we know that management, gave him an extension without even really proving himself.
Yeah.
How do you see this thing unfolding, from here to All-Star break and here, you talked about 60 games left.
Yeah.
Between now and the end of the season, are some of the players that you see currently on this roster, you think they're still here this year?
Right.
Do you think they're here next year? You talked about Lauri Markkanen, Lauren. What are your
It's a young team, right?
Yeah, very young.
Yeah, I feel like they need a leader, like an old school leader in the locker room to help change the culture. I think the culture is bad, bro, and it just every year it's just spilling over. The culture is bad.
Yep.
And like players got to take some of that too. Like it's not all coaching. It's not all front office. Like players got to change the culture too. You know, they got to change the locker room too. Like they can't all be pointing their fingers at the coach. Somebody got to step up and be like, man, let's respect this man. You know, and just come out and compete and play hard for ourselves at least.
What does this do for a young player like a Kobe White? Right?
Yeah.
Because, it's his first year rookie playing in a big city, playing at a franchise, organization as the Chicago Bulls, what Michael Jordan was able to do. But to come into this chaos, what does that do for him?
Yeah.
Learning and adjusting to play at the NBA level.
Well, hopefully it shows him like the game is about politics too. Like some guys come in and they forget the game's about politics and they learn it the hard way on the back end. You know what I mean? Like the game is not all about fun and glamour. Like you got to be a professional at some point.
Yeah.
So hopefully he's taking that from it too. But I know it, just depending on how he take it.
One thing that makes you wonder is the man's 54 years old and he'd never been a head coach except at the University of Utah, where he kind of failed, had a record of 69 and 60 in 4 years. So it makes you kind of wonder that he didn't have a great track record, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, but we don't necessarily know. I mean, look at Fred Hoiberg. Come on now.
Well,
it's
he
not
was
like
at Iowa State.
Yeah, I know he was at Iowa State. Come on, what does that mean?
Well, they did well there.
Yeah, they did do well there. That doesn't mean you deserve to be a professional coach on a professional level.
Look at the Celtics coach. It's the same thing. Butler. From Butler.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. And maybe Boylan wasn't pushing to become a head coach. I mean, if you're a bench coach for the San Antonio Spurs with what they've been able to do over the decades, that's a pretty good position.
Exactly.
Hey, real quick before we say goodbye, marvelous one, DePaul Blue Demons.
8-0.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. The main thing that really helped them is Charlie Moore transferred from Kansas. He was eligible right away because of a waiver, because of a family health situation, and he's the key to the team. The great guard play, and they have Paul Reed, who was their best player coming back from last year, and they're both dynamite. And they also got another guy, Coleman Lands, who didn't play last year, who's the other guard. So they have three players that are scoring double digits or more every game, and they may get some people to come to Wintrust Arena eventually to raise the attendance from over 4,000.
There's talk about them ending up in the next top 25 poll for college basketball.
Well, they're playing Texas Tech on Wednesday, so that might end it.
Is it a fluke?
Well, no. I mean,
I hope
they won at Minnesota and Iowa, and they won at Boston College, so that's not a fluke.
But what really matters is, can they win against Villanova, Butler, Georgetown? That's going to be the big question.
Those teams are maybe equal to Boston College and the teams Iowa and Minnesota. Who knows? I mean, those teams are pretty good too most years. But we'll see. And then, like I say, they beat Texas Tech on Wednesday, who was the runner-up in the NCAA. And then they played Buffalo, who was in the NCAA last year on Sunday. And I'll be there and I'll report from there if I don't get her in time.
Hey, marvelous one. Thank you so very much.
Nobody call in next week?
I'll call in next week.
Hey, man,
guys. Come on, guys.
Guys, it's the fastest hour in sports conversation. I want to say thank you all for being a part of the fastest sports talk show in the city of Chicago. Thank you. We're running out of time, so nobody else can say anything, all right?
Mention the Buckeyes.
How about them Buckeyes? Big Ten title game. Big Ten title game next week against Wisconsin. The second time in 3 years. Congratulations to the Ohio State Buckeyes. Hey, Quintin, Demps, Q, thank you so very much for coming on down. Lauren, Yucan, thank you so very much for becoming a part.
It's been a blast.
Thank you, and we want to have you continue to come back and be a part of a great show here.
All right, I'm holding you to that.
17-10 Bears.
There you go. All right.
Okay.
Gabe Salgado, TRS60 scoreboard update. Take it away, buddy.
60 Sports Update.
So the Bears will be featured on Thursday Night Football again this week. They welcome the Dallas Cowboys to Soldier Field. The Bears have won 3 of their last 4, while the Cowboys have lost 3 of 4 and have been held under the 20-point mark in 3 of their last 5. This update is sponsored by the Monster Education Foundation, and I'm Gabe Salgado for the Rewind Sports 60 and WCPT 820 Chicago.
Please have a seat. I'll be honest. Your resume is not what I'm used to.
I know.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need a hard worker.
Good. I've got 2 part-time jobs and to help my parents pay the bills.
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find, cultivate, and train a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Hey, Chicago, looking for a winning team on a winning station? You found it right here on WCPT 820 AM. Join Danny Carlino, Kelly Lee Williams, Dan Marvelous Marver, Marty B, the man on the street, Gabe Salgado with updates, and yours truly, Jerry Riles, for your sports and entertainment needs. Looking for real sports talk? Got it. Real radio? Right here. Real stuff? We're here. The Rewind Sports 60 every Sunday from 6 to 7 p.m. on WCPT 820 AM. Real sports, real talk, just plain real. Lock it in.
Take me out to the ball game. Hall of Famer Andre Dawson.
All right. Let's hear it from the greatest fans ever. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back for its root. Root for the Cubbies. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the